Hi, this is Steve Bookbinder. Today I want to talk to you about prospecting within existing accounts. I want you to map your existing accounts, and there are 4 parts to the map. The first is knowing the structure. The second is imagining. The third is going to the top, and finally asking yourself what the sale will be worth. Let's go through each. The first, let's see how many different departments and divisions, and in some cases, sister companies or partner companies, that you can name that are impacted by your sale. Not necessarily the department that ends up buying when there's an enterprise license, but what are all the departments or divisions that benefit and in theory could make an independent buying decision of your product or service. Let's see how many you can name. When you think about the most important accounts in your portfolio, chances are you can't name fully all the departments for any but your top 1 or 2 accounts, and many salespeople struggle even with that. And so the first thing we want to ask ourselves is, what are all those departments and divisions? And if we can't answer that question, then our next fact-finding mission is to determine what the answer to that is, and the best way to do that, of course, is a conversation with your prospect. Ideally, you would have thought about this just before you met with the prospect the first time. So, as you were speaking to them, you would begin that mapping process right away. Now, second, I want you to think about all those departments and divisions that are touched by your sale, and I want you to imagine that if you were to make a sale, what product or service would you sell them? What would be the way that you could render a product or service? It may be different than the way you're delivering that service now to your original department. Is there another way? Is there another reason? Would they buy it for looking to achieve a different benefit? So I want you to imagine, in an ideal world, what would that sale be? Now I want you to imagine going to the top. In other words, if you were to really try to get that sale from that division or department, who would you have to go to? And my guess is you'd have to go to the most senior level person in the department or division who would benefit from your sale. Not necessarily the person that you're accustomed to selling it to, but the person that would benefit from it, who has a senior enough position, can bring in your service or product if it in fact might be used in solving some problem that they're facing. So let's think about who the most senior level person is, as the sale would be more efficient if led from the top. And finally, if you have a list of all the different divisions and departments, and matching up with that is the product or service you imagine selling them, you've figured out the person that you'd have to call to get the first appointment of that sales process. Now ask yourself, what would the sale be worth in terms of both the amount of money that you would make as well as the cost to get the sale? And as you start to think about that, that informs your priority list. How are you going to prioritize these leads? If you don't do it this way, what you end up doing is inadvertently going after any division that happens to come up next without thinking of a total plan, which, if you thought of it from the top, from the start, you would most likely, more efficiently, more completely penetrate that account.